There is an ongoing investigation in the state of North Carolina in response to election fraud. And this is election fraud that took place during the midterm election, specifically in the 9th Congressional District. Now, the State Board of Elections is investigating allegations of irregularities and fraudulent activities related to absentee by mail voting and potentially other matters in that race, and has not certified the initially reported election results. Now, we hear a lot about election fraud, but usually when we do hear about it, it's from Republicans claiming that Democrats do it. But in this case, where we have some evidence of election fraud, it was Republicans who committed it. Now, McCrae Dowless is one of the operatives who apparently told local political campaign volunteers that he was holding on to 800 absentee ballots. So what happened to those ballots? Why did he have those ballots? It's part of the investigation. Now, the Republican nominee in the 9th District, Mark Harris, won more than 61% of Bladen County's mail-in ballots, and that's a puzzling margin considering just 19% of accepted mail-in ballots belong to registered Republican voters.
So that's super important. That county is clearly more Democratic. Only 19% of registered voters are Republicans. So when the mail-in ballots come in overwhelmingly Republican, 61%, people go, wait, what is this? This is not a normal result. And that raises a red flag. And there are a number of other red flags in this story that we've covered before. And even the 4 Republicans that sit on the Board of Elections in North Carolina are like, we are not certifying the results. There's something wrong with this election. And the guy, one of the guys who turned evidence against the guy who committed apparently the fraud in the first place, McCrae Dowless, is another Republican volunteer, and bless his heart. He's like, look, I saw him with the 800 ballots. He said he was gonna turn them in later, but I'm not sure I believed him. And it's, you can't just sit on 800 ballots. It's totally illegal. Now there's other illegalities here, and I think they're saying, for example, they determined that the early voting results were leaked in one of the counties, and that's also illegal. But I think that the Republicans are hanging their hat on that in North Carolina, because the other charge is way more embarrassing, right? So the early counting being leaked is problematic because there was a third person in the room who was not supposed to be in the room, and the Republicans can act based on that information. So that is a big problem. But the fact that they might have stolen the ballots is a bigger problem. Yep. So now, great news, and this is actually very surprising. Republican leaders in the state of North Carolina are saying, yes, earlier we were saying that, hey, only if it affected the election, otherwise it should stand. Now they're saying it looks like we might have to redo the election. And
yeah. You got to redo the election, 100%. And again, luckily, I mean, I wish we had this in every state, but luckily in the state of North Carolina, there are Republicans with a conscience. And Kenneth Simon was the person that you were referring to earlier, Cenk. He actually met McCrae Dowless, the guy with the 800 ballots, at a Republican event, at a party. And that was when he noticed, like, okay, what's up with these 800 ballots? And so Kenneth Simon said that he met Dowless at a Republican Party meeting in the small town of Dublin, which is in this area that we had referred to. Simons wrote that he and his wife saw Dowless with a large number of absentee ballots in his possession. Simons asked Dowless why he had so many ballots, and that Dowless responded that he was holding on to more than 800. And that's when Simons asked him why he had not turned them in, and that Dowless replied, quote, "You don't do that until the last day because the opposition would know how many votes they had to make up."
So that's not true, number one. Number two, there are significant allegations that some people that worked on the campaign, perhaps Dowless himself, took a lot of the ballots that were marked for the Democrat and threw them in the garbage. Some allegations are that they crossed out the Democrat's name, put in the Republican's name. Some they collected on misinformation and said, hey, that's okay, you don't have to fill it in. You already told me who you're gonna vote for. And then they would take the empty ballot and fill in the Republican instead of the Democrat. And so all of this is deeply illegal. Yes, it's an obvious thing for the Republicans in that state to not go to prison and say it is illegal and they should redo the election. But it's still a little bit shocking for the Republicans to ever do the right thing.
Right.
So, and it's not done yet, but almost. Redo the election now. 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.